lesson recaps in advertising 2. So remember when chapter 3, we talked about the advertising environment. Then we also looked at the components of the marketing environment, the role of advertising agencies in the market environment, the economic environment, we touched about it as well. We talked about the optimism of the advertiser, the supply and demand, the marginal cost versus marginal revenue. Then we also looked at the social environment where we talked about sociology, which is the study of social behavior and the conformity and the influence of culture on advertising. And we said it is very important for advertisers to understand culture because it influences consumer behavior. Hence, as an advertiser, you need to understand the traditions, the values, the beliefs of the people, so that when you're creating advertisements or when you're creating marketing campaigns, they will not be offensive to the culture of the people that you're targeting with your services or with your products through your marketing communication. Then we also looked at the technological environment where we talked about technology and the media, the advent of different technologies and how they are influencing trends and changes in advertising. Then we looked at technology and communication, how communication now is changing also due to technological advancements that are happening every day in our lives. You look at the coming in of Facebook, coming in of Twitter, digital spaces, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc., etc. Then we also looked at customer interaction with technology. Then we also looked at how technology also influences advertising performance and how we can measure that relationship as well. Then we looked, of course, at the political environment. We looked at freedom of speech, electoral campaigning, advertising in support of political issues, how advertising is very important also in the political environment. As politicians also rely on advertisements to create awareness for their political parties, ideologies, selling their campaigns and stuff like that. Then we look at the regulatory environment as well, advertising laws that we have in South Africa and advertising laws that are there internationally. We looked at the industry standards, the benchmarks that you're expected as an advertiser to adhere to, the ASASA codes of practice as well. And we also looked at the Advertising Standards Authority of South Africa. And then on chapter 4, we looked at the definition of consumer behavior. What is it that we talk about when you say consumer behavior? Consumer decision-making process, the basic decision-making model, the cognitive model in the advertising agents, the reinforcement model as well, advertising influence on consumer decision-making. So today we're going to talk about chapter 5, research for effective advertising, the importance of research in advertising and how research contributes to creation of a great advertising or a great marketing campaign. So what is the source of advertising data now? Data is very important to companies. Companies gather data as well as visual it, sell it, analyze and store it, for example. The most consideration with data is the degree to which it is usable and the degree to which it is relevant. Hence, it is important to understand what information a company needs and wants in which, in order to make the best possible decision when it comes to things, like, for example, your target audience, the objectives, the advertising message, and the media mix. We have secondary data, which is data that already exists, as the information had been previously gathered for some other purposes, not for the specific study that you're particularly doing either for your marketing campaign or for the creation of that advertisement. It's the data that is easily available within the public domain. Think of newspapers, any other sources that has been published, that's secondary data. Okay, when we look at media red, what is media red card? A media red card is a document provided by the media owner or buyer, which details key information about the media or the medium. The information includes things like demographics, reached by the media, the anticipated performance, and other media-specific criteria. In other words, a red card is a document provided by a newspaper or other print publication featuring the organization red for advertising. It may also detail any deadlines, demographics, policies, additional fees, and artwork requirements. The smaller the publication, the less information that may be available on the red card. Hence, newspapers and magazines present circulation statistics, which is basically like the number of copies that are issued in a given period. Radio details listenership during a specific time and show. Digital assets specify the click rates, percentages of viewers who on average click through from a banner or a text link. When we look at digital platform advertising manager, digital platforms such as Facebook and Google have their own advertising management dashboards. Dashboards are comprised of tools that help businesses to plan specific promotional activity on the platform. Businesses can attain information about target audience, the geographies, certain online behaviors, and etc., etc. These platforms provide information regarding different targeting options when an organization is setting out a particular campaign. Geographical location, the target audience, interest, how many people the business is likely to reach or engage per day, which allows then now the company or the organization the ability to work and adjust the targeting profile to ensure that they get the best possible reach. If you look at Google Analytics or customer analytics dashboards, Google Analytics is in essence now a platform for marketers to analyze the performance of website traffic acquisition sources. What indicative does it integrate product and marketing data across business units? The purpose of Google Analytics is to allow for analysis of returning and new customers on the company website. This could include analyzing customer behavior by understanding where someone first discovered your website, like your acquisition reports, the demographic and geographical makeup of your audience, which basically your audience reports. Then we also have the surface level behavior, such as bounce rate, average time on page, and finally goal tracking, conversion reports. So Google Analytics enables business to track a single visitor's movement and behavior across the company's website. Meaning basically they know who is on the website, who is clicking the website, how many people clicked, the duration, the time that they were on the website, which enables the business to create targeted and relevant communication activities. These activities allow businesses to drive target audience through the conversation funnel, which is basically your steps between initial engagement with the business website and the concluding transaction. Then we have online reputation management, ORM. It is about monitoring and improving how your business is viewed online. It means looking and analyzing what a potential customer, reporter, or partner will discover about your brand, your people, or your product when they perform a Google search. Online reputation management monitoring tools allow organizations to monitor what is said about a business brand on the different social media platforms by consumers and the general public. So it might be on social media. This then enables them or enables the organization to have an idea of what the sentiment is from the target audience and the general public in terms of the language, feelings, and associations that surround the brand. So by having such information available, the business can be able to plan relevant communication and execute interventions to remedy any negative sentiment. For example, when a business sees a negative upswing in communication around the company's brand on Facebook, they're able to plan how to use the channel in a way that tries to correct the sentiment and address any of the concerns that are causing the issue in the first place. Then we also look at trend reports and media white papers. Trend reports and media white papers provide or present interesting insights and research around technology, target audience, consumption patterns, and the likes. This information can be leveraged by advertising planners to ensure that communication not only aligns to consumers and needs, but also relevant in modern day context. A trend report is a document that gives indication of major trends that shape a particular industry or target audience. Trend reports are often released by research houses and by Google and Facebook. The report provided data and insights that help guide the business on how to best make use of particular platforms or capitalize on a particular trend or trends. A media white paper is a document that describes a particular piece of technology, a theory around a certain platform, or a new branding, advertising, or business practice. It is issued by a subject authority and they tend to take the format of posing an existing problem or issue and they provide a proposed solution. Therefore, trend reports and media white paper can be used in planning campaign activities as they give indication of behavior on key platforms, as well as key market and marketing trends. Now, let's move on to primary sources. What are primary sources? What are we talking about? Primary data refers to the first-hand data gathered by the researcher. Primary data is primarily or specifically collected to solve the marketing problem or opportunity facing the management. It is collected from scratch by means of either surveys, observation, interviews, focus groups, experimentation, etc. Now, let's unpack some of the primary data sources used in advertising, planning, and research. We have consumer focus groups, consumer immersions, consumer surveys, consumer focus groups. So a focus group is a face-to-face meeting with a sampling of customers that helps you learn about their needs and perspectives. Focus groups also enable your customer to find out more about your company. Focus groups are not a substitute for understanding market problems, but they can supplement the process. Then we have consumer immersions. Consumer immersions provide businesses with inside look at a person's life. Consumer immersions are usually facilitated by an agent or research firm. They present businesses with the opportunity to observe consumers within a particular context. The purpose for this is for the agents to get a slice of life view of the consumers, to be able to ask specific questions about the product or service. The facilitator often participates in the process with the view that they assist in identifying the core insights attained through the process. Then we have consumer surveys. Customer surveys are a method of collecting consumer feedback. They help companies assess customer satisfaction, measure customer engagement, and perform market research and gauge expectations. Consumer survey is a source to obtain information about consumer satisfaction levels within existing products and their opinions and expectations regarding new products and services. Consumer survey should ideally be a systematically developed procedure by the marketers to gather insights into real time. Satisfaction levels among the consumer database can be measured by asking the right questions, answers of which can be analyzed to create strategies for improvement. Product consumer satisfaction should be in line with the overall consumer satisfaction, which can be established by analyzing the answers received from the surveys. Then we have consumer surveys. Consumer surveys are conducted as either a verbal, written, or digital assessment. The info is delivered in determined by the scale of sample size, the number of people interviewed or surveyed, the type of questions asked, and the nature of the responses. Surveys can be used to understand the impact of advertising activities undertaken and also assess whether the advertising even reached the desired audience or not. Then let's look at the merits of secondary and primary data. What are the merits of secondary data? One, the data is immediately accessible. Secondary data is often cheaper to obtain than originating new primary research. Sometimes, some types of secondary data, such as census or statistical information, has been collected over a long period of time with a large sample size and is therefore usually slightly more reliable. Let's look at the merits of primary secondary data. It is an opportunity to generate own insight and information. Yes, because now you'll be coming up with new information. It provides new and first-hand information that might particularly solve a specific problem, a marketing problem. It allows the business as a brand or advertiser to engage with the audience and find out very specific pieces of information. Information gathered directly fits the specific requirements outlined for the advertising activities of the campaign. Now, let's look now at the advantages of research agencies. Okay. If an organization requires specific quantitative information to substantiate a particular message, media, or target audience, they may need to use research agencies. The advantages of using a research agent is that they often have access to latest enterprise level tools and are well versed in the latest research techniques and practices. The other advantage is the benefit of focus. Additionally, research agencies are not constrained by internal office politics. Any legacy perceptions or inherent bias is something that an in-house team may find it tricky to bypass. The research agencies won't have that particular problem at all. Not only is research a tool to inform planning, but it can also be an invaluable tool when it comes to measuring advertising performance, how the advertising performed or how that campaign is doing. After all, there is no merit in undertaking advertising activity founded on established objectives or goals and not assessing this impact. So reporting on performance is often a mandate requirement within agencies and brands, as the ultimate desire is to be able to determine return on investment. In certain instances, the return is a financial one, or in others, the return is a specific attitude or a shift in consumer behavior. It all depends with the objective of that particular campaign. So the research can then be used to assess all these three fundamentals. Because remember now, advertising activities can be both tangible and intangible effects depending on the goals that a company sets out to accomplish. What is it that they want to accomplish? So being able to measure these effects or the impact of the advertising is important, both from an reporting perspective and as a means to continually improve the advertising the company is undertaking. Intangible effects of marketing might include things like an increase in brand awareness, an improved understanding of a particular offering, or improved consumer brand sentiment. Then what are the tangible benefits of advertising? They might include an improved bottom line, financially, sales of a particular product, or uptake of a particular service. Now, let's look at the metrics relating to research and advertising performance measures. Look at impressions. These refer to number of occasions that your particular content, be it a post or a video, is displayed regardless of whether or not you engage. Then reach, this refers to the total number of people who are exposed to your content. So these are some of the most important jargons to understand also in advertising. Frequency, this refers to the number of times your advertising is displayed to a particular user within a particular time frame. Relevance scores, this is a tool that offers a reflection of how well the advertising is performing. A good relevance score means that the audience was responding and engaging with the content. A poor relevance score, on the other hand, demonstrates that the targeting was either off or the construction of the messaging did not appeal to the target audience. Click-through rate. This refers to the rate at which consumers click on a particular piece of content, relevant to the number of times or instances it is served to them. It is usually conveyed as a percentage. Then we have cost per lead. This refers to the cost of generating one lead or contact for a particular advertising activity. Engagement. This refers to the number of actions taken on a particular piece of content. Engaging with the content might mean viewing a video to completion through clicking through a link or reacting or commenting on a post. Then cost per engagement. This refers to how much it costs to get a single engagement on a particular piece of content. For example, if you're advertising via Google AdWords, so that means what is the cost of that click whenever someone clicks on your advert? Then measuring marketing performance. So for a business understanding, what the business set out to accomplish with the marketing activities is a very important component of measuring market performance. Businesses need to understand the areas or aspects of the market they choosing to influence the advertising strategy. And when it comes to assessing performance, these are the aspects that they need to measure. Research can help assess market performance as a consequence of advertising activity. Measuring financial performance to determine market performance. Remember now, the goal of advertising from a marketing perspective will be to increase sales, sign-ups, or the use of a particular product or service. The financial data can be used to determine the impact of advertising on market performance. That's why I say it is important then to consider the relative spend and marketing activity, as well as seasonality and any other relevant socio-economic factors in comparative months. In this way, it ensures that businesses are accurately assessing the impact that your advertising activity is having. One consideration for creating better measurability is non-digital media channels. Is the use of bespoke short code SMS numbers, email addresses, or telephone number per media type or placement. In other words, each address or telephone numbers per media type or placement. In other words, each different medium or each medium placement will have a unique contact detail that allows the brand to determine exactly what has prompted the consumer to call or engage. There are two types of market share, one based on value and the other based on volume. Different brands, products, and services will view the value versus volume debate differently. And also you need to measure your consumer attitudes. A consumer attitude towards a brand, a product, or a service can make or break your business. In certain instances, advertising activities will have a clear objective of shifting or entrenching consumer attitudes. Research can be used to measure consumer attitudes in relations to advertising activities and in relations to your brand's products or services. Both pieces of info are valuable for you as a marketer. You can also do consumer polls, you can do surveys as well, focus groups, where you get all the information from the target audience. You can do one-on-one interviews. One-on-one interviews can be a good way of getting more in-depth information about your consumer, about how your consumer feels about your particular brand, product, or service. In measuring consumer behavior, effective research tools and processes in place, one is able to more fully observe and appreciate how consumers go about using and selecting their particular products or services. So an advertising impact assessment perspective consists now of either number one, reading customer comments, Google Analytics, surveys, monitoring purchasing behavior, and stuff like that. Then we have researchers in advertising performance measure. Research is not only a tool to inform planning, it can also be an invaluable tool when it comes to measuring advertising performance. How are the adverts doing out there? So you can get all this information again through customer interviews, one-on-one interviews, reading customer comments, ratings, keywords, search through Google Analytics. Then you can also do surveys, monitoring purchasing behavior as well. So basically, this is what we have covered so far. So this recap will just equip you with these particular lessons that you missed out as well. So we'll continue from this basically summarized everything that we have covered in terms of our chapter 5. From chapter 3, covered the advertising environment up to chapter 5, where we talked about the importance of research, the type of sources that you can utilize to gather information as advertisers or as marketers as well. So this is basically what we have covered so far. Okay, so go through the notes again. Again, as you are going through these slides, go through with your textbook and research more. Use the internet, use other different textbooks as well to get to gather more information as well. Okay, guys. So until next time, it's bye-bye for now.